Welcome in, everyone. Going to be working on some rock and metal rhythm guitar styles today. This is week 2 of 5 we're going to be doing. My name is Dave Salentano, one of the guitar instructors at Guitar Tricks Online. Start out, play a little rhythm. This is a classical song called Pachelbel's Canon, but I do a rock version. There's many people on the internet have done that. Actually, I have it on one of my albums, Desert Storms. Check it out. Play a short version of it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and change up that sound a little bit. Go back to more of a slightly cleaner tone. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. A lot of people already in the class. Cool. Russ, what's happening? Terry, right on. Danny, Dennis, cool. Theodore. Some of the familiar names that I remember from last week, and some of us, the carryovers from when I was doing my class on Facebook. Let's see what else we got here. Jeff, cool. Hello. Cool. Right on, Terry. Good deal. And you know what, Terry? After we get done with 5 weeks of the rock and metal, I'm going to do rhythm guitar. I'm going to do 5 weeks of some rock and metal lead guitar techniques and concepts, things like that. So join us for all of those if you don't mind. Yep. Dave from Cleveland. Hey, Steve's here. Couple Steves. All right on. Zane. Cool. It's going good, Zane. Thanks. And Marianne, the Second Chance Band from Connecticut. Great blues band. Okay, so in the curriculum we're doing is same as last week, except that this is week 2. Rock and roll, rock and metal rhythm styles, week 2. You can get that. It's a PDF at the underneath the YouTube video that you're watching. Go down below it and expand the page under there, and there should be a little PDF you can download if you want to check it out. Okay. Jamie from Colombia, cool. And Kermit, is that the Kermit from, we used to do some group classes together in Guitar Tricks couple years back. And then James, yep. Cool. All right. So we're going to be working on, last week we did open chords. This week we're going to jump over into power chords. So just a recap of last week, what we're doing is trying to show you how common open chords are in rock guitar. A lot of bands use them. Van Halen, AC/DC. A lot of bands use even Led Zeppelin too. A lot of open chords that are not power chords to play the songs, like Highway to Hell. It's mostly open chords. Those are all open chords. Right? Back in Black. Okay, those kind of songs, a lot of open chords, Shook Me All Night Long. AC/DC loves to play them open chords. The open chords, it kind of makes the rhythm sound a little more kind of powerful. You've got those open strings ringing. That's what gives it a little more of the jangle and the cut through. Okay, and I was showing everyone too how a song like Highway to Hell, you could do it with power chords, but it doesn't quite have the same mojo. We go open chords. Okay, now watch, I'm going to switch that and do it as power chords. It still sounds like the song, but it's not quite there. Okay, the A actually doesn't sound much different because we're playing an A here, but we are playing the third of A on the second string, the third degree. That makes the chord, qualifies it as a major chord. And then the D over F sharp, you got the open fourth string, and then your G chord with the open fourth and third string. The open strings sound great. As we go a few more weeks into these rock and roll and metal rhythm styles, I'm going to show everyone some other ways of adding open strings to some of the bar chords and some of the riffs. And in fact, we're going to do a little bit of the open string stuff today with the power chords. Okay, so that's what the deal. I was trying to sell everybody on open chords. So even if we're just starting out or you're just starting out and you've got an acoustic guitar, but you like rock and metal, and eventually you're going to get electric guitar, you can still start working on your open chords. You know, a lot of times, like, we call these chords affectionately cowboy chords or campfire chords. All right, no disrespect, but a lot of the campfire tunes that people play are just basically a lot of open chords. But they're very powerful too. They have a lot of good purpose in rock and some metal songs too. Okay, let's jump over to the power chords for today. And the first example at the top of the page, I've given you 3 illustrations of the power chords, G, C, and F, and 2 ways to do each one. One of the common ways is to play, for instance, the G. You're going to hold the root note on the 6th string 3rd fret, and then we hold the 5th degree of the chord with the pinky or 3rd finger on the 5th string 5th fret. Okay, and what I mean by the root and the 5th is this. The root note on a power chord is the lowest note. The next chord or the next note up in it is the 5th. Now you notice all these chords have a 5 after the name. Whenever you see a 5 after a chord name in some music, it's a power chord. What the 5 means is, like I was talking a little bit last week about the theory, it refers to the 5th degree of the chord. And even if you don't know too much theory, you can kind of use your fingers for most of this. All right. Sometimes the sharps and flats mess us up, but in these chords here, they're coincidentally or luckily not going to use sharps or flats in the chords. So you can just count up. If your chord is G, the 5th degree up is 5 letters. G, and you use the music alphabet, everybody. G, A, B, C, D. So the G power chord is a G note, and in the 5th, the D. Okay, now some guitar players play their power chords a lot with the index and pinky. I remember when I saw Judas Priest, they were doing a lot of index and pinky, but there's a lot of guitarists that play with index and ring finger. Okay, the nice thing about using your index and ring is that you can add in the little bluesy touch, like we add that pinky, like a lot of ZZ Top, you know, when they're playing some of the rhythm guitar, Billy Gibbons plays. Aerosmith, a lot of their rhythm guitar parts, when they add the pinky in there. Jimmy Page and Zeppelin too, some of the bluesier stuff there. Okay, the pinky comes in real handy to give you some extra embellishments on the chords, okay, or on the power chord. But I'll let you decide which fingering you want to do with it. It really depends on what feels comfortable for you and what you're good at. I would say this, because sometimes in the beginning stages, beginners don't use their pinky too much. It is the shortest finger on our hand, and it is the weakest one, but we want to be pinky players. You want to use your pinky. So you might want to try doing the power chords with your index and pinky just to build up the strength and use it, okay? Let me just take a little detour for a sec and check out what everyone's saying. Oh, Kermit, yeah, good memory. Right on, man. Glad you could join, Kermit. And I was going to ask you if you're still playing guitar, but obviously you are if you're watching this. So good deal. And cool. Jersey Red from New Jersey. What's up, Rusty? Cool. Kenneth, all right, right. James and right on. Cool. How about Thunderstruck? Yeah, yeah. Thunderstruck might. I think it's in the key of B or something, but the lick. Okay, that's obviously not any power chord or any chords. It's a neat little lick. But I'm not really familiar with the rest of the song. I've heard it a million times. James is asking that. Yeah, James, I've heard that song quite a bit, but I just never learned it before, except for the intro. Seems like a lot of people like that intro, but the rest of it we haven't gotten into much. So that's all I can do of it. Sorry about that. Okay, hey, Thine, how you doing there? I hope I said your name right. Cool, cool. All right, so on the power chords, back to the ranch here, everybody. I'll let you decide if you're going to do the 2-string power chord, whether you want to use your first and third finger or your first and fourth. Check this out, though. Another alternate way of doing power chords is to play the root note with your first finger, the next note, the 5th degree with your ring finger, and then we're going to double the root note with the pinky an octave higher, tucked in right underneath the 3rd finger in the 5th fret as well. Okay, gets a little bit more of a fatter sound. So instead of just hearing 2 strings, you hear 3. Okay, it's your choice. Doesn't sound that much difference. Most people might not even notice it, but it is gets you a little fatter sound. And because you're playing 3 strings, it might even be a little bit louder. Right? A lot of Green Day songs use power chords. Okay, obviously a lot of punk like the Ramones, Sex Pistols, a lot of them use the power chords. So they're very popular in the punk field and the heavy metal field and the rock and roll field. Okay, so we got 2 options. We can play a 2-finger power chord or add your pinky right underneath the ring finger and double up the octave. Okay. The second example, or first example, the second part of it is the C5 chord, the C power chord. That's just the same shape down a string. So the root note now is on the 5th string, 3rd fret. And then strings 4 and 3 with the ring and pinky finger. If you do the 3-string way, or the 2-string way, just take your pinky off. Or your index and pinky. And while I'm on these power chords with everybody, let's talk about this for a sec. This is real important to know. And also, feel free to ask any questions about music or guitar stuff. That's what I'm here for. And you can just ask it in the comments and I'll get to it. I'll see your comment come up. And I might not jump on it right away, but give me a sec and I'll check it out. All right, Rui's got this. Yeah, Blitzkrieg Bop 145 power chords. And you almost know the entire song. Exactly, Rui. Yeah, and Peter's saying, I just realized why it's C5, because G is the 5th. Yeah, exactly, Peter. Bingo, man. If you were here, I'd shake your hand or give you a fist bump. There, fist bump through the internet. That's exactly it. The 5th of C. Okay, you're obviously, C is the root. Count up 5 letters in the music alphabet. From C is the root, 1, D, E, F, G is the 5th letter up, or 5th note up in the C scale from C. So that's what we're adding to it. Peter, for the F5 chord, what's the 5th? Okay, start on F, G. Then after G, we just go back to A at the beginning of the music alphabet. B and C. So F, G, A, B, C is the 5th degree. So when we do the F chord, the ring finger's on a C note. Yep. Music Bill from New Jersey. Hello. And Pete, you're right. Yep. The 5th of F is C. Okay. But let me jump back for 2 secs on these power chords before we get too deep. Notice that we're only playing 2 strings, or 3 if you're doing the 3-finger one. Okay. What about all those other strings? I get a lot of students mentioning that they the rhythm guitar sounds a little noisy, kind of sloppy. It could be, a big part of it could be because you're not muting those open strings. Those strings that we're not playing on a power chord should actually be muted. And especially if you like overdrive, like I do, and you got a little crunch on there, those open strings can start to sound really messy. And what we're going to do is this. Check it out. When I'm doing like the G power chord, if I'm using 2 fingers, from the front, it looks like this. And of course, I'm only going to try to hit those 2 strings. I'm not going to, try not to hit all the others. Okay, but look what my first finger's doing. See, I'm not barring it flat like a bar chord. Okay, I'm just holding the 6th string, 3rd fret, and I'm letting all of this part of my first finger touch the other strings, but not press. So we don't want to press where it sounds like this. Not good. We want to hold just the 6th string, and see how my knuckle is a little bit bent? This will take a little practice, but you can do it. And you're going to need to do it. Okay, hold the 6th string with the tip of the finger and let the 5th all the way down to the 1st string. All those are touched by the fingerprint part of your first finger, but we're not pressing. We're just touching. Listen. So now when I hit all 6 strings, all you hear is 6. 4 is muted. 3 is 4. 5 is muted. 4 is muted. 3, 2, 1. See? It's just a light touch. So even though I'm hitting all 6 strings, you don't hear anything except the 6. And you hear the scratch of the others, but that's a lot better than this. Okay, same with your 3rd finger. When you add your 3rd finger on there, we're going to do the same thing. We're still going to mute with that 1st finger. And then when you put the pinky down, you can do that too. No matter which way of the power chord you're going to choose to finger, you still need to mute all of them with that 1st finger. Okay, see that? Now watch when I go to the C. Same thing. I hold the 5th string, tip my finger, let it mute strings 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I let the tip of the 1st finger touch that 6th string. So, obviously it's going to get a little harmonic there, but just try not to play it. But if you accidentally do, at least it's a little muted. See, all you hear is that. 6 is muted. 5, 4, 3, and then 2, 1. See, I'm muting with that finger, not the palm mute, that finger. And when I go to the F chord, same thing. Go down to F. I let the tip of it touch the 5th string, so that doesn't start ringing. Or if I hit it, you can't hear it. And then the underside of the 1st finger mutes the 1st and 2nd string. Okay, now in the F chord, if you're going to choose to do your pinky, it's actually not in the same fret as the ring finger. It's a fret higher. Okay? You don't want this because it's going to sound messy. That's actually a jazz chord. It's the major 7th added in there. Bands like Stone Temple Pilots do a lot of open chords too. I should have even mentioned them, like the song Plush. You know how it's going. Okay, open G, open D over F sharp, F bar chord, to a open C, to a E flat major 7. Isn't that cool? Stone Temple Pilots is amazing at how they can take jazz chords, which typically don't sound good with overdrive and distortion, but they use them. A lot of their songs have some overdrive. I think Interstate Love Song. A lot of chords in there that are not your typical rock chords. C sharp minor. Oops. And what is that? An A flat over C chord. and then a B major bar chord, and then another jazzy one, B flat minor 7 flat 5. Okay, anyway. So those jazz chords sound pretty neat. They have a nice color to everything, but you got to be careful when you're playing with overdrive. So on that F chord, make sure your pinky's in the 6th fret or the next fret up from your ring finger. Okay, those 3 power chords are very common. A lot of metal tunes go down the line. Judas Priest, Metallica, Iron Maiden, etc., Anthrax. A lot of times they're using power chords. Okay, got to mute those strings though. So work on your muting of the strings. That's when we're watching guitar players play. If you're like me, we're guilty of watching the left hand, but we're not paying attention to what the left hand's also doing besides playing the notes. It's also muting the other strings a lot of times. Okay, and also, the right hand is usually not just picking whatever, but it's a lot of times these really good guitar players, there's a specific picking pattern they're doing on the rhythm riff or the lead guitar lick. Okay, so the right hand is real important too. We're going to get into more of that stuff with the lead guitar once we're done with our 5 weeks of the rhythm guitar stuff here. Okay, let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody. Jamie's saying, is a power chord a really chord as music theory defines a chord? I'm thinking about triad chords, but power chord sounds like dyad chord. Jamie, good point. Yeah, a dyad obviously is a 2-note chord. We're going to be getting into some of those in the next few weeks of rhythm guitar using dyads, little 2-note chord partials to imply the chord. So yeah, it's all relative to the theory, Jamie, and it works. Just they don't play power chords in classical music or jazz because, well, first off, the power chord sounds really good with distortion, overdrive, because the 3rd degree is left out, and as well as there's no 7th typically. So the root to the 5th sounds good with distortion. So does the root to the 4th. Like Smoke on the Water, you know? Oops. Okay, those are just intervals of a 4th, which is, if you're aware of this, for you theory folks, a 4th is a power chord inverted. So instead of having a G power chord with the G in the bass and the 5th up higher, an inverted power chord is where the 5th is in the bass and the root note's higher. That's what Richie Blackmore's using on the guitar riff for Smoke on the Water. You know? Okay, those 1-finger chords are kind of nice because you can move them quick. When we're doing drop D tuning, which a lot of hard rock bands love and metal bands, you can just play a 1-finger power chord. And it looks like we're doing 4ths, but it's still a 5th because the 6th string's tuned down a whole step. But those 1-finger chords come in real handy for moving quickly. So Jamie, good point there. Yeah, yep, there you go. And Ken is saying on the string bass, the little finger's used more than the 3rd finger. Cool. All right. I have a bass in my closet. When I record, I play the bass on my recordings, but I'm not a bass player. Although it's just like a guitar without the high E and B strings in terms of the geometry and the scales and the notes. But I don't play it that often. I just play it when I need to get a bass part recorded. But that's good to know, Ken, sorry. Good visual, Russ. All right, cool, man. Yeah, try to make everything clear. And if I speak too fast or don't talk about something that I might have missed, catch me on it, ask me, and I'll be glad to go over or reiterate it and slow it down. Okay? James saying, I'm trying to play fast, but I'm having trouble getting my speed up. Yep, and then Rui, yep, the fourths and fifths are perfect intervals, and that's why they sound good with overdrive and distortion. If we add the third in there, the third, like I was talking about last week with the open chords, the third degree of a chord typically sounds a little messy with overdrive. Hear that? It sounds a little cluttered. It would sound way better if I rolled some of the gain off and let you hear the quality of the chord a little better. But we don't have that rad overdriven sound we like. So that's kind of why we leave out the thirds and the sevenths when we play with a lot of overdrive. Let me address James saying, James, you got to slow down. If you're trying to play fast, but check this out. This is a good little additive. Speed is a byproduct of accuracy. I picked that up from, I think Frank Gambale coined that. Not sure if he invented that term or just passed it on, but that's where I heard it when I was going to music school at Guitar Institute of Technology a long time ago. Yeah, he said speed's a byproduct of accuracy. So in other words, if you can't play it accurately slow, it's not going to sound good fast. So we got to be able to play things slow, James. So if you're working on a lick like if you can't do it clean, slow, okay, you got to be able to do it clean, slow first. And a good way to practice that stuff, Jamie, is metronome it and just take it slow. And Jamie, if you need more help with that stuff, you book a lesson with me. You can reach out to me through my website, davesalentano.com, or if you're a Guitar Tricks member, you can reach out to me in Guitar Tricks, and you can just book a lesson. The lessons link is in Guitar Tricks homepage on my website. I've got the same link attached to my website, so you can book a lesson directly there too. And I'll be glad. I got a ton of curriculum that I can give you, Jamie. And part of what I would need to do is hear and see you play too. And we can do that over the internet. Because just talking to you, I don't really know like I can't see how you're holding the pick. I can't hear what you sound like. Once I see and hear what's going on, I'll know immediately what we need to work on, what you need to work on. I can help you out with that, figure out what's a good metronome tempo to start at, and give you some things to work on. All right, Jamie, cool deal. Moving down the line. Rui said, do. Yep, the 4 is perfect. AK-47. Hey. AK-47 saying, which amp would you recommend? Well, it depends what you're looking for, AK-47. Right now, I'm just using that Axe Effects, the Fractal, and I like that because it's got all kinds of amp sounds and effects, and I control it from I got a little laptop off the camera here. But that's what I'm using, and I'm playing it through that little headrush monitor speaker right there. And I got a bunch of other amps around me too that I use, like when I play with the blues bands, or when I was teaching before I got my Axe Effects, I was using this Yamaha. I think it's a THR-10. That's a pretty cool little amp. It's just for, obviously, it looks cute like an old radio. When you turn it on, it's got some orange lights that light up like old tubes. But it's got a really great variety of amp sounds. You can get some like the Beatles, Rolling Stone tones. You can get the metal sound like Zakk Wylde and Metallica. You can get really clean sounds. And it also has a lot of effects, chorus and reverb and delays. That's what I use right there. And I'm trying to think of, God, what is it? It'll come to me. But that's if you're looking for a little one, I would go with that. Just something. And also, too, if you're not playing with a band, just get an amp that you can have in your house that's got a bunch of different tones on it and different sounds, like amp modeling. I think Fender's got a great amp modeling amp. I can't remember the model of it. I also heard from another student today. He just picked up one that is that's I'm slipping on the name of it. That little Yamaha one is cool. Anything of line 6, they've got some pretty good tones in there and a variety of stuff. Something that allows you to have different tones. And if you're into the heavy metal, you want to make sure it's got a nice overdrive sound. Cool. All right. AK-47. Cool, cool. Tim's here. Do you teach acoustic guitars? Of course. Yeah, I got a Martin right there, and I've got a nice classical out in my front room where I practice when I'm not back here in the room working, and can help you with all kinds of stuff in that regard. AK-47 too. Yep, a little finger picking, folk stuff, acoustic strumming, little country stuff for sure. Steve's here said, have ever heard anyone say they seem to get stuck on 70 or 90% speed on guitar tricks no matter what I'm learning? I haven't heard that, Steve, but just keep at it, man. Yeah, just keep at it. Sometimes we get to a point when we've reached the maximum that we can do, but if it's still not what it should be, like as fast as the song needs to be, it could be some technique issues, Steve. Like, and again, I need to hear and see you play and hear you to be able to tell what's going on. Because sometimes, like how we're holding the pick, how we're holding the guitar has to do with it. And then also when I hear you play, I can tell if there's what's going on there too. So, but that happens, Steve. A lot of times I'm, hit a plateau with a metronome speed, and I'll be at that speed for a while, and then you never know when it's going to happen, but I'll have a breakthrough, and then all of a sudden, I can go a little faster, and then I'm just at that another level. But Steve, you got to be patient, and you got to keep practicing, because if we don't practice, people, you're definitely not going to go to the next level, and you're not going to get any better. So there you go. Tempo speaking. Yep, I totally get it, Steve. Yeah, work with a metronome, and just when you gradually increase, maybe like instead of jumping from 75 to 90, see if you can practice it with the metronome and then find a tempo that's maybe 80 or 85, between 75 and 90. And then once you finally get to 90, same thing. Don't just go 90, 100%. Go 90, 95, and then 100. So that'll work. Yeah, Kermit says he has a Helix rack, and the Helix is line 6, right, Kermit? I think it is. That's a good one too. Yeah, totally. Boss Katana, there you go, Rui. That's the one. That's the other amp that I was trying to recommend, trying to remember the name of it. The Boss Katana. I heard that's a really good amp too, with a bunch of different. Yep, and then the Fender Mustang. Yep. There you go, guys. Appreciate the help there, people. Yep, and then the GTX, the Fender GTX 100. Yep, great modeling amp. Cool. All right. Well, there you go. So we got all of a sudden the Boss Katana, the Fender GTX, that little Yamaha THR 10 right there, and they're not that expensive. A few $100, I would say. Good investment if you like playing guitar and you want something that's got a nice variety. Yep. And Guitar Tricks is what they got. The nice feature on their videos is you can slow it down to 90% or 75 or 50%, which is a great learning tool. And I'll tell you, folks, when I'm working on songs for Guitar Tricks, when they ask me to do a tune, a lot of times I've never played the song in my life. So I'm like, most of you approaching a song, it's new for you. You just got to learn it. And I just work on the parts slowly, practice them. I work on sections at a time. I work on the intro, make sure that's good and solid. Then I'll go to the verse, work on that, make sure that's good and solid. Rather than trying to play through the whole thing every time, I work on all the parts of the song first, make sure that each part is solid. Sometimes that happens quickly. Sometimes I might have to spend a few days on a part before it finally clicks. Or for some of you, it might be a few weeks on a part. But just be patient because you will get it if you stick with it and have the right way to practice. Okay. Do. Yep. Cool. Peter saying buy something where you don't need tweak and plug and play. Tweaking keeps your. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. It's like that audio, fractal audio, Axe effects. That thing is very confusing to work from the control panel on the unit. And when I first got it, that's what I was trying to do. And I was spending like hours just trying to get through and dial up some good tones. And once I hooked the computer up, it makes it way easier to control it. The computer is the control panel. But yeah, we don't want to get something that's got too many bells and whistles where we're not practicing. We don't want to spend 2 hours on technical stuff when we could be spending an hour and a half on practicing and a half hour on just dialing up some good guitar tones. Good point there. Good point, Peter. Which acoustic guitar would you recommend? Oh man, depends what you're looking for, steel string or nylon string. I mean, I got the Martin right there is not one of their top of the line D models, but it's a lower line one. Taylors make good ones too, if you can afford them. I like that. Yeah. All right. A lot of people commenting here. Yeah, Rui. True. Peter, true. Wasted tons of hours on tone chasing already. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because if we got a crummy sound, you want to do your best to get it better. But eventually, we just need to practice. Otherwise, we're not getting any better by tweaking knobs and doing that. Zach Lee saying when playing odd number of notes per string on adjacent strings, use alternate picking. With switching to ascending string is better to start on a down pick or an up pick. Zach, yeah. Do. Let me see just reread what you're saying there. Yeah, Zach, let's address that, Zach. And I'm doing 5 weeks of rock and metal rhythm guitar styles. And then after that's done, I'm going to do 5 weeks of rock and metal lead guitar techniques where we can totally talk about like what's a good way to hold the pick and then crossing the strings. Some folks like to cross with a downstroke. Some like to cross with an upstroke. There's also inside and outside picking. There's also economy picking. We can go over all that when we do the lead guitar stuff, Zach. But that's the idea, is to get your pick so that you can cross effortlessly, not just play fast on one string. But to be able to cross strings and keep the speed up, not go where it's messy. We want to go. Okay, we'll go over that stuff, Zach, in 4 more weeks. We got 2, 3, 4, and 5 to do here. 4 more weeks of the rhythm, and then we'll get into that. And I promise you we'll address it. And if you comment when we're doing that class, I'll readdress all that. But you got a really good point there, Zach. Good job. And then Steve saying that lick at the end of American Girl has me stumped, but I'm no Mike Campbell. Yeah, I think that song's on Guitar Tricks, isn't it, Steve? There's one lick that Mike Campbell just cooks on, and I'm pretty sure the instructor on Guitar Tricks, Michael Lekshi, teaches that lesson. He did a great job of playing that lick, if I'm correct in thinking. I know there's one Tom Petty song that I saw Michael Lekshi do some really fast picking on that, the solo licks that Mike Campbell was doing. Steve saying, if I can get an external camera on my PC, I'll plan to do the private lesson deal. Cool. Yeah. But doesn't your PC have a camera, Steve? Because most PCs these days have a camera and a mic built in. That's all I'm using is just the camera on my Mac and the mic on my Mac. It's like no extra stuff added in. And it gets pretty good sound. And then if I need to show something to you guys, I just get real close so you can totally see what's going on. And I would ask the same of you. If I'm like helping you with your picking technique, for instance, I would want you to stand up so that I can see exactly what that pick is doing. Okay. So let me do this, folks. Let me just keep rocking and rolling here. Oh, you don't have a camera on your computer. Ugh. All right, Steve. Well, then you're going to need that. But when you get that, Steve, reach out. I'm here. Okay. So let's quickly jump in because we just chit-chatted quite a bit here. Example 2, folks, is just a simple power chord rhythm going all down strokes. Okay, on the A power chord, down to F at the first fret, up to G, and then back to A. Really simple stuff, but if we got some beginners or novice out there, kind of new to the guitar, you can do this on acoustic too, okay? So we're gonna go 8 downs on each one. Actually, one more time. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the rhythm. We're going to do it twice, but it also says right next to example 2, it says with slight palm muting. So instead of letting it just ring, we're going to lean the heel of your right hand, touch the strings. So we're actually muting with the right hand palm, but we're not going to mute too much. We don't want to be over the pickup. We want to be right where the string crosses over the bridge saddles. Okay. So you're going to, it's not so much is exactly where to put your hand, but it's the sound. So if I'm on the bridge, but not on the strings, there's no palm muting. And if I'm too much, we don't want that. So you find the sweet spot right there. See, that's what we want. You want to go for that sound. So when you're playing your rhythms, you can go between the two, where you hit a chord with no palm mute, then palm mute as you're chugging. Okay, the palm muting works real good. Okay, so example 2 is pretty simple. Now let's jump down to example 3 here. This says with the horse gallop rhythm. This is a great rhythm for a lot of songs. If you like Iron Maiden, this is their hallmark, the horse gallop rhythm. See that really fast chugging? Or Barracuda from Heart? It's just that down, down, up on each beat. So grab your D chord, for example 3, folks, like this. Okay, and we're going to palm mute it, but initially let's not palm mute just to get the hang of the right hand. It's down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Okay, and then with the rhythms, the way we would count the rhythm, like a drummer, it's going to go, it's an eighth note, 2 16th notes on each beat. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and that's the rhythm. It might take a while if you're new to that rhythm to get it. When I was younger and heard Barracuda and learned it, I just couldn't get that rhythm as fast as they were doing. I practiced that thing over and over again for a while, and eventually I got it. And then once Iron Maiden came out, or even Rush, I think one of their songs on 2112. Yeah, what do we got? Let's see if we can do this. Here we go. Yeah. Really, a lot of fast horse gallop. So let's check out example 3. These are just little rhythms I wrote. It's not anyone's particular song, but you can borrow these ideas. Just come up with, move your chords around, come up with cool rhythms with the power chords, okay? So we're doing 1 bar of D. Then we go up to F at the 8th fret, just slide it up 3 frets, and we do 2 beats on the F. 1 and 2 and up. And then for the C, we could just move up to the 6th string, 3rd or 8th fret. But rather than that, I'm going to keep everything on strings 5 and 4. So all we got to do is slide the power chords up and down. Okay, so after the F, then I move back to the 3rd fret and do beats 3 and 4 on the C. Okay, that's so far what you got is the D, F, C. Then we do D again. And then just to mix it up, we go down to the B flat on the 1st fret, 6th string, or 5th string, sorry. 2 beats on that, up to the C5 chord for 2 beats. So we got this rhythm going, folks. Okay, now watch this with the palm muting thing. A little bit of that to get that chug sound, everybody. And then we want to mute all the higher strings with the index finger, because when you're watching bands like Green Day and everyone else, sometimes you see them hitting the chords and strumming all the strings, but how come it doesn't sound like a big mess of notes? Because they're muting the other strings. See, watch this. So when I'm playing that, if I don't mute the other strings, sounds kind of messy. Now I'm going to clean it up. But see, I'm still hitting a bunch of strings. I'm not just hitting 5 and 4. But I'm going. See, 6 is muted. 5, 4, and then 3, 2, 1 is muted. So it's real important to mute those strings. You know, you watch Green Day going. See, if he's not muting the strings, it sounds really not good, like what that just was. Now I'm going to mute the strings. Okay, it's real important to get the hang of muting the strings. So let me just come back and see the comments for a sec. Peter, as a student of Dave's for years, I can offer a positive testimonial for his privates. Oh, Peter, right on. Awesome. Appreciate it. You're too kind, Pete. Only on laptops has cameras. Kenneth, okay, cool. Do you use reverse pick hold on chugging? A reverse pick hold. Zach, all right, you're asking a lot of good pick questions, man. Yeah. So when I was younger, folks, I used to pick because all right, I'm going to go back a few. I'll tell you a quick little story here, and then we'll get to the bottom of this page. When I was in high school, I was in 10th grade. Marty Friedman grew up in my same neighborhood. His parents and him lived in the same housing development that my folks and my family lived in. He was in 12th grade high school, and I was in 10th. And I was already playing guitar, and a bunch of my friends said, "Hey, you got to check out Marty, man. He gives lessons, and he's a great player." So I saw him play. I think one of his first bands was called Deuce, as in the Kiss song Deuce. And I'd go see them play at some high schools and around the area where we grew up. And I ended up taking a few lessons from him. And he got me going on playing lead guitar, because up to that point, I was just playing a lot of rhythm stuff, trying to do lead, but I wasn't successful at it. Well, Marty, if you've seen him, videos of him playing, he's a super nice guy, super cool, and heck of a fantastic musician and guitar player. He has this unorthodox way of picking. I've never seen anyone else do it, but he kind of picks from underneath like this, right? So just from me being a young teenager, and he was really good. So I didn't know any better. And I was just kind of picking like that just because that's how my instructor was doing it. And he was really good. So I figured if he's doing it, this should work. So I was doing that for a long time. And I hope I'm answering your question, Zach. But when I was doing the chugging rhythm and some of my rhythms, sometimes I switch it so that the pick is like this. Kind of, I don't know if you can see it, but it is kind of pointed this direction when I'm kind of doing that. Okay, like this. I'm kind of doing that motion. But when I play solos and pick, over time, I've always on the quest to get better, and even working on my picking technique, I've realized that this isn't good for everything. Okay. Unfortunately, there's not one right way to play guitar. There's going to be several good ways. And the more that we learn, the more that's going to benefit you, because some songs require me to pick it like that. But sometimes I need to turn it this way and pick, like when I'm doing the lead stuff. Okay, that stuff. See how my pick's pointed this way? I couldn't do that if I was this way. But then conversely, on the chugging rhythms, I guess I could, but I feel a little awkward with it. I feel way better to do this. Okay, and it's all about the sound too. So there's a sound I'm listening for, and I'm trying to get my hands to do that sound. Sometimes it works this way, sometimes that way, Zach. So we can totally, Zach, if we do a one-on-one lesson, I can see what you're doing, and I can share some curriculum with you of my own and point you out to some really good lessons on guitar tricks too. Because there's some really cool lessons in there on if you're into picking fast and all that kind of shreddy stuff. There's some really cool video lessons too I can point you at. Cool, there you go. And Rad Flying VV, sorry you're late. Yeah, no worries, man. Glad you're here. Okay, so we just went over example 3 with the horse gallop rhythm. Okay, now check this out. Example 4, let's read what I said here. Use one of the rhythms from above for this example. So this is actually, I played this a minute ago. Sounds like it could be a Green Day song. Sounds like it could be a country song if we use open chords. It sounds like it could be a Taylor Swift song or some pop tune, maybe even Blink 182. In fact, yeah, Damn It from Blink 182 is that exact rhythm as number 4, but they do it in the key of C. forgot how damn it goes exactly, that riff, but I think that's it. And then you go. Okay, that's the chord change there. For us, we're doing it as a D power chord to A, up to B, down to G. And then we'll try the all down strokes, real simple, little palm mute. Okay. What's also cool is to put some accents in there. Like, how about this? Accent on the 1, the 4, and the 7th downstrokes. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, dun, 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 dun. It's kind of like doing 3, 3, and 2, repeating it like this. Doesn't that sound a little more interesting rhythmically and just sound-wise than to go? In fact, the chugging way might sound cool to play under the singer when the verse comes in. Maybe the beginning of the song, you do it with the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 rhythm like this. And when the singing comes, maybe play softer and then don't accent. And then back to the accent. Okay, real quickly, folks, let's jump down to number 5 here. Cool, second chance. All right, Marianne. Appreciate it. Yep, I'm going to go a few more minutes, but if you got to check out, I'll look forward to seeing your name and your band name in our comment bar next week. Okay, cool. Appreciate you stopping by, Marianne. Okay, number 5. This is another thing with power chords is using an open 6th string or 5th string in the bass, like pedaling between them. So what we got here is power chords on the 4th string and 3rd, and then pedaling on the open 5th string. So this rhythm that we're doing here is kind of like that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 rhythm I just talked about, except we're going to hit the chord on the 1, 4, and 7 downstrokes, and then all the other ones we're going to hit just the 5th string like this. Okay, it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and what you want to do is not hold the chord down. Sounds kind of messy. We want to, as soon as you're done playing the chord and then you go to the 5th string, let the pressure off the chord. See what my fingers here? Watch how I squeeze. And when I hit the 5th string, I palm mute that a little bit and see how I unsqueeze. I let the pressure off my fingers. It's very little. You don't want to come off the strings because then they make noise. You just want to release them off the fretboard. Like. Then we go down to the 3rd fret, up to the 5th fret, same rhythm, folks. And repeat. All right, enough of that stuff. So, folks, tune in next week and we'll move on past power chords. What do we got cooking for next week? We're still doing rock and metal rhythm styles, but this is going, one of the students was asking about dyad chords. Next week is the dyad chords. We're going to go over some really fun stuff with that. That's 2-string chords or 2-note chords like power chords, but we're going to do some other shapes and sounds. It's going to be neat. We're going to do some major and minor intervals as well as fourths and fifths, and I believe sixths too. So hang tight. We'll go over all that stuff. All right, everybody, let's see what we got here. All right, Steve's saying, oh, Steve, you just bought one without a camera. Bummer. Steve's, you're also messing with the pick angles. Yep, keep at it, and we can work on that some more in the future. Yep, you're welcome, Russ. Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, you might need to. That's what's nice about the videos here on YouTube or the Facebook ones I used to do. You can watch them after the fact too, as many times as you need. All right, you're welcome, Steven. You're welcome. Thanks, Rad Flying V. Appreciate it. Thanks, Theodore. Appreciate it. Danny saying, thanks, Dave. A little hard for me to be time on Wednesday as opposed to Thursday. Oh, cool, Danny. Yep. Glad. Well, yeah, you can at least watch them after the fact. Cool. Appreciate it. Zane, another great lesson. Cool, Zane. Right on, man. Appreciate it. Terry, you're welcome. Rui, yep. You're welcome very much, Rui. Yep. And Steve, yep, thanks for switching to YouTube. Yeah, I'm happy to do it too. It is a bigger audience and it's just a lot better for everybody. All right, cool. Thanks, Dave. Missing your dog in the background. Everything okay? Oh, yeah. Well, he was here. It was like sitting right over here at the beginning, but then he took off. Okay. And Dennis, yep, you're very welcome. Yep. Kermit, all right, good to see your name and hear about you and stuff. Yep, Kermit, reach out whenever you feel like it, Kermit. That was a while ago, too. We used to do those group classes through Guitar Tricks, which we no longer do, but I'm doing tons of one-on-one lessons with Guitar Tricks for a lot of their students. I'd be glad to help you out some more if you need it. Theodore, cool. Yep, we're going to definitely, when we do the lead guitar concepts for tap, rock, and metal, we're going to definitely be doing a little bit of tapping there. Okay. Brad Flying V, yep, just be on time, same time every Wednesday night. Terry's saying great lesson. Thanks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, have a great night. We'll see you next Wednesday. Be good. Peace. Keep them fingers flying. Don't forget to practice. All right. See ya.